Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That's Vanessa over there.
Hello.
I'm Kelly. Hey guys, last week we had to suddenly play an episode of the Amityville Horror Picture Show, but it had Vanessa on it, and it was almost like we didn't miss a week.
Aww.
That's true.
And I don't know if everybody is listening to that, but if you are, please drop us a note and let us know that you're enjoying it or not enjoying it or whatever.
Yes.
I don't know that we get much comments on those episodes.
We did get Badger still watches the YouTube comments, and I think Carlos left us a comment on the last one
Oh, yeah.
because, he's familiar with the series.
Right. And I always get, a couple of friends who reach out and say, I really enjoyed the last episode. And did you think about this or, stuff like that.
Cool. Nice.
But I'd like to, get a little bit more reach on these episodes.
My mom, her comment to me today was, "Oh, I saw you played a repeat last week." And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, that you're doing another one about the house." I was like, "No, it's the series. There's a bunch of them about the house." She's like, "But you're on it." I was like, "As a guest star." The one time. So, for anyone out there who's confused about how many Amityville versions we might be doing of that podcast.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
So it was interesting listening to that over.
Mhm.
I said there are 40 movies. There are already now 50 movies.
Oh my God.
It's going to be
You
horrible.
better hurry up.
We do a lot of talk about AI on this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And I'm just fascinated with what's going on and how quickly it's happening, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
And I decided to ask what is it, GTP or
GBT.
GPT?
Chat
The
thingy.
chat bot. I said, write a poem about Strange Eons Radio.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So I shall now read to you what the robot gave me.
Oh my God.
The name of this poem is Fantastic Strange Eons Radio.
Oh, nice.
From deep within the unknown abyss comes a voice that weaves a mystic twist.
Ooh.
Strange Eons Radio, the podcast divine, where the hosts Eric, Vanessa, and Kelly shine.
Well,
Ah.
Their words like spells, enchanting and true, lead us on a journey to worlds anew. With each episode, we delve deeper still into the mysteries that make us thrill. Eric, the master of cosmic lore, whispers secrets we've never heard before.
Whoa.
Vanessa, with her soothing voice, guides us through the darkness with poise.
Oh.
And Kelly, the mistress of the macabre,
oh, shit.
weaves tales of horror that we can't ignore. I don't know that you can rhyme macabre
Mug with
with
ignore.
that we can't ignore. Together they form a trinity of magic, drawing us in with their enigmatic antics.
Whoa.
Their passion for the weird and the strange brings forth a show that's never mundane. With every episode, we're left wanting more, as the hosts regale us with tales of yore. So if you seek a podcast that's out of this world, where the host's words are like pearls unfurled, then tune into Strange Eons Radio, where Eric, Vanessa, and Kelly's magic flows.
That ending was very strange.
Now,
Inconsistent, but
don't mind me. I am going to be in my car recording a TikTok and crying about how the robot has misgendered me. But other
Weird.
than that, pretty crazy, right?
yeah,
That
that's-
is, it's like you can see where the robot lives because there's weird repetitive. It's almost like it's a bullet point list that it's trying to give you, but there's cool words that are thrown in there. It gets the basic idea
yeah,
of
it got
our
the idea
podcast.
surprisingly well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty creepy.
it is. Now I want a robot to make a song out of that next because
Oh,
I think that could be
can be
really
done.
fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
have it
singing.
done by Drake and who was
Was
the other?
There's that one singer who said that she'll split proceeds 50-50 if you use her voice.
Oh, I didn't hear about
becomes a
that,
big
but I
hit.
did hear the uproar was that there was a song released on Spotify that was supposedly by
Oh,
Drake
yes.
and some other singer. Look, kids, I'm not really up on today's music, but it was played so many times before it was revealed that it was an AI song,
Oh my God.
and they took it off. But it was played so many times that it charted.
Oh, shit.
So this is the danger we are coming into.
I mean, it's happening really fast. We had
Mhm.
presentations with our students at Seattle Central a couple weeks ago, and there was one group that apparently just used Chat GBT to create their script. It's real rough, real rough. So we're trying to figure out the ethics of like where to cross the line and tell people or where the line exists. Okay, you can use it for programming or you can use it to do blank, but you cannot use it to like do the artistic portions of this course. So
Yeah.
it's weird. It's
And-
really weird.
Had a conversation with one of our listeners. I don't know if he wants me to share, so I won't mention his name, but he was saying he's a teacher and he's fighting with his, not fighting, but working with his students who are trying to use Chat GTP to be there to do their homework and stuff.
Sure,
And
yeah.
there are programs online too you can drop the words into and it'll
Mhm.
tell you if it was AI written. So you can't get away with it if you're trying to hide it and
I
they really
have-
want to look, but it's here.
It's like there are too many fingers on this report. This is obviously written by AI.
I have the
Yes.
easiest solution to this. I don't know why people don't do this. Handwritten reports. Make them write it in hand. Like, okay, maybe they could put it in the computer, get the thing, and then write it down. But that feels like more work and effort than it would be to just answer the questions on a piece of paper or have them do it in class.
Boy, I can't imagine growing up as most college students now have with computers the whole time.
I did
The
not have that.
handwriting
Oh, geez.
may be beyond
Question mark.
comprehensibly bad
Maybe.
because you never write.
It'll get better though if you make them do it all the time. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I often will send Carlos a picture of me writing, and the way I write is always at a bar with a drink in front of me and the iPad and the keyboard, but also I handwrite everything, then I transpose it over to the keyboard, and he always says very nice things about my handwriting.
Aw.
I'm like, oh,
Yes.
thank you.
She'd have nice handwriting. I had a weird friend. Well, Mike, my old roommate,
Yeah.
Mike from years ago. He could write like a typewriter.
Wow.
It was so weird. He didn't do it all
He
the
had
time. 'Cause
serifs on his letters.
yeah, I mean,
Oh
you
my
could
God.
look at it and go, "Was this a?" It was wild.
That's crazy. So did he take the time to like try to figure out how that looked and then repeated it?
Yeah, because he has
Wow.
naturally really, really nice handwriting. So he just figured out one day in like school or something.
Right.
You're sitting in social studies class, going,
You're
"I'm
just like,
bored." So he
"What am I
said,
gonna
"Yeah, I just
do?"
figured out how
Right.
to do it."
Wow. Oh my God.
All right, guys, this is a movie podcast. So,
Oh yeah, movies. Did you see one?
I saw a movie.
Okay.
Oh.
Carlos, I saw a movie in the theater.
You said Carlos?
Whoa.
Oh, you and Carlos.
No. And it is called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Nice.
Oh man.
I laughed. I cried. I probably cried a little more than I thought I was going to cry. And I liked it very much. It's a really, really nice ending to this trilogy.
Very cool.
I'm so
So,
excited. I'm
yeah.
seeing it tonight. So
I've heard there's like animal things that if you're that
Of
tone, you
course.
might be
Yes.
aware.
Of course.
I
And
feel like you get that from the trailer.
all of these
Mhm.
CG animals are starting to look so realistic. Ironically, one of the side characters is, and I think it showed up in the holiday special, the cosmonaut dog.
Oh yeah.
And I keep
Cosmo.
thinking, why couldn't they get a real dog for most of this and just animate the features? Because the dog looks like the least realistic thing in this movie.
Wild.
It seems like it would have been the easiest thing to work around.
Yeah. Dogs train well.
But
I don't
there's a
know.
lot of baby raccoon in this, and it's kind of heartbreaking. So
Woof.
yeah,
Woof.
it is a really, really great story, centering mostly on Rocket's past, and surprisingly, I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this, surprisingly mature ending.
Oh. Okay.
In the way some storylines are tied together. Not what I would have expected out of a Marvel movie, but exactly
James
what I would
Gunn.
expect out of a James Gunn film. So
Yeah.
highly
Cool.
recommended.
And this will be probably the last James Gunn Marvel venture, right?
Absolutely. DC's not going to let him come over
Yeah.
to
Oh,
Marvel
no.
and make a film.
And he clearly wouldn't want to anyway after Marvel really tried to fuck him over. Um, so I saw a film also in theater. It was a long amount of time to sit in a chair, but I saw John Wick 4.
Okay.
It's a long movie,
It's
or
a long movie.
oh, well,
It's a
with John
long-ass
Wick,
movie.
isn't like 10 minutes feel like a minute?
It does. I will say, I mean, look, Keanu Reeves is an incredible, he has such a dedication to the
Yeah.
craft, and he has done such great work as far as bringing to light, people who've been in the background as stunt actors, and he's got a heart of gold. But he's getting a little old. So even though he trained as he normally would for a John Wick film, he's definitely got the slowest battles. And at one point they just quote unquote injure John Wick so that he has to kind of limp and walk places. I was like, yeah, because you couldn't show him at his peak running around because he can't. He can't do it. So everyone else is moving a lot faster all around him. And he's just sort of, battling the one person in the background while everyone else is sort of running around. But also a good ending to a series.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I mean, there's already 3 spin-offs happening, so
Yeah.
the John Wick world continues.
The
at
John
least.
Wick world can continue. Yes.
Cool. I have to check that one out. So I'm on another. You remember I talked about the story of film for a while?
Mhm.
I'm reading another weird ass book about film called Transcendental Style in Film by Paul Schrader.
Oh my God.
And I got to tell you, this is a book full of some filmmakers going, who the hell is that? And I've heard of Ozu. Bresser, Dreyer. I don't know. This one was picked up because it was published. It sounds like the way it reads, I think it was originally published in the 70s or early 80s, but it added Tchaikovsky because he wasn't included in the first one because he's too fast of a filmmaker.
Mm. Oh my God.
So this is a very strange world of film. We're talking about one film by a guy named Tars, who's Sante Gyogo, which is a 7-hour and 12-minute movie.
Oh my God.
Diaz's evolution of a Filipino family clocks in a short 10 hours and 47 minutes.
Oh my God.
These are narrative features, by the way, and not experimental.
Geez, Vanessa, that 3-hour John Wick film doesn't sound so bad now.
It really doesn't.
There is one film in the works, and now we get into the experimental films. That is by Anders Werbergs, who I couldn't quite tell if he's sort of finished it, but he hasn't finished it. But his goal is to do a 720-hour or 30-day film.
Oh my God.
That will run one time, and then he'll destroy the film.
I fucking hate this guy already.
It's hilarious. If you want to check out the trailer to see what the movie's about, on Vimeo, there is a 7-hour trailer.
Oh my God.
Which, yes, I did go and watch. No, I did not watch 7 hours of it.
I bet you at the end of that 7 hours, you're like, I feel like I've seen the entire movie.
I think so, yes.
Oh my
but
God.
the longest film ever recorded at this point, because his hasn't been finished, was 2019's We Will Make a Cinema. Now, this is the longest narrative film at 21 hours and 5 minutes.
Jesus.
The longest experimental film is 35 days and 17 hours.
Oh my God.
It's a series of numbers. I don't know what the name of it is. Logistics. That's what it's called. Logistics.
So what does define, I mean, besides
Now
like stupidly long?
Those are really the outliers. The book is much more about Ozu, Bresser, and Dreyer, where they're talking about how they're tell movies and tell stories in a very different way. Ozu's got a bunch of Criterion releases and stuff. So he's a very recognized Japanese filmmaking master. But it's just such a weird way to look at the concept of film. And it's really interesting. The first introduction, though, which is where all that stuff was in the introduction itself, is just sort of like, here's the craziness of this. It's called slow cinema. No shit. And segments of slow cinema include walking cinema or like traveling cinema or something. Basically, you just watch somebody walk for a couple hours or something. I don't know. But Tchaikovsky's and the way they make films is a really interesting read.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm not going out to watch. I don't think I'll be watching Logistics anytime soon.
Jeez. You know, it's a 35-day film, but it really cooks, and it feels like you're only in there for like 21 days.
I mean, if you think about like when we watch episodes of TV, I can kind of see like, when we watch like Yellow Jackets or we're
Yeah.
we're already submitting to a, 10-hour experience.
Sure.
So what's the difference here? And I guess the difference is just probably very good writing.
I think the
and
biggest
purpose.
difference between a long movie
Mhm.
and a TV series is TV series are written with climactic moments and things like that. So
Yeah,
you
like mini
feel like
arcs.
you've reached an end point or
Mhm.
a break point. So you say, oh, wow, it's the end. Oh, I'm going to watch another, as opposed to sitting there for 10 hours and it never stops unless you stop it. Like, But yeah, I watched Yellow Jackets for a while.
Oh, man, transcendentalism. Woof.
Okay, I saw a film, guys, that I'm almost positive you guys did not see, and that is called The Pope's Exorcist.
Oh my God. That was what I
I
was
think I
going to
have
talk
seen.
about.
Is that a 70s film?
No,
Oh,
it's
no,
a
that's the
brand
new
new
one.
Russell Crowe
Okay,
film.
yeah. No, I have not seen that.
Are you really going to talk about it?
It's fine. You can take it. I
What?
don't care. I don't care.
I was just sure you had no interest in this film.
That's why I didn't bring it up. I was like, there's no way either of you would have watched this, so it's going to be fine.
We can double team this film if you
All
want,
right, let's
Vanessa.
double team
Take it
it.
down.
Let's double team it.
I'm embarrassed to admit that I mostly liked it.
I also mostly liked it. It was such a surprisingly not god-awful movie.
But it was so stupid.
So stupid. There were so many moments where I was like, Exorcist, you've seen it. Good job. We're going to the hospital, you say. Whoa, crazy.
There were a couple of times when I was like, if your film has the word exorcist in it, you
Mhm.
probably should not take scenes directly from the most famous movie with the name Exorcist in it.
You'd think so, and yet. But it's got Russell Crowe, and he can do up to 199 sequels to this movie.
This is true. I have to admit that fat, kind of funny Russell Crowe was
Mhm.
really appealing to me.
Fat Italian
Yes.
Russell Crowe, too.
Yes.
Is
I
he
was like,
accented?
he was super accented, but he like owned it.
Well,
Nice.
kind of like, I mean, did you think that his accent in Thor was a little over the top? Because he's got the same Italian accent in this movie.
It was definitely a delight. This was one where I had no interest in seeing it, and a certain other person living in my household was like, "Let's see this movie for $20." And I went, "No, thank you." And then the next day was like, "Okay, I want
It's
to make you
on.
happy. Here we go. Let's watch this."
Well, mostly stupid. The acting throughout was, mostly bad. And then that third act was like
Insane.
a crazy action horror film, and I was not
Oh,
expecting
wow.
any of it. And it was so gory. And I was just like, I think I might love this movie now.
There was some really good effects, and they just really went there. They were just like, you know what? Sure. Let's just explode this person.
So this
So
is a
good.
home streaming rental at this point?
It is
or-
now, yeah.
Yeah.
It went so quickly to available on home, but still at $19.99. That I was like, this can't be good.
Yeah.
But I'm home, and so yeah,
Oh my
uh,
gosh.
Nice.
I guess that's a soft recommend then.
Yeah, I'd say it's a really soft recommend.
If you're not sure, wait till it's a $5-6 rental. Maybe.
Yeah, I would wait till it's a cool $4 on Amazon. But yeah, I thought it was gonna be absolute trash, and it was kind of fun. So
Nice.
yeah.
Huh.
It's very. I guess the thing I would say is it's kind of like an episode of Evil.
Yeah, without the sexiness.
Yeah.
Although the younger priest, I thought, once we learn a little bit about his past, I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna get something going
But
on
he's
there.
so like waxy.
Well, he's no Mike Colton, if that's what you mean.
He's not attractive, and everything about him is a little gross. But that's
So
okay.
you're saying he's not thin, Russell Crowe?
He's not any Russell Crowe. He's as far removed as you can get from another human being without, I guess, being a girl from Russell Crowe.
Oh my.
I mean, he was fine. He was fine. He
Yeah.
was was not as sex appeal to me personally. But you, Kelly, I won't speak for you.
He was kind of working for me, except for the whole priest part.
I thought
Bad
you were about
boy.
to say especially for the priest part.
So should we just
I'm going to skip just to
Okay.
you.
Well, I think at least one of us has seen this one, maybe both. I don't know. Went to a theater with some awesome CryptCon folks like Tony, who's been on the show, and Bum, and all the fun group, and we've got Evil Dead Rise.
I saw this as well. Yeah.
I have not seen it yet. I was so bummed to miss out on the opportunity to see it with you guys, but how was it?
Well, I never even got an invite. So,
Oh, well, you know.
Well, you can talk about that off mic. But I thought it was awesome. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It does, for whatever all the other franchises can't seem to figure out, the Evil Dead franchise figures out what an Evil Dead movie is at its core, even if a lot of the surrounding things move away from that. I saw some of the hardcore people like, well, it wasn't in a cabin. It's like, yeah, I think that's sort of what the opening was for, to let you know this is going beyond the cabin now.
Also, do we need another Evil Dead in the cabin?
No, we don't. It doesn't need to be the same movie to be good.
In fact, I was like, okay, here's where we go from this. Now we go to Evil Dead Metropolis. The evil is loose in the city. Then we go to Evil Dead World for the final part of this trilogy or something like that. It is interesting that I feel like we're on two very different franchise streams that would include like the first movie and then the remake and then this movie as movies that are trying to be horror films, and then Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and the series of Evil Dead, or Ash versus Evil Dead, that are kind of the comedic versions of these films. So,
but still all Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Still work in the same weird world.
Enough Easter eggs. There was maybe a little too many nods to the original in this one for me as far as dialogue.
Action ones, there was just enough.
Right.
That was cool. But yeah, I see what you mean with the dialogue was running a little. Okay.
I remember talking about Lee Cronin's film before this, Hole in the Ground. Did you guys ever see that?
Don't think so.
And I really liked it. It is a very, very slow burn. And I remember thinking, I wonder what Sam Raimi sees in this film that makes him think that Lee Cronin should be doing an Evil Dead film.
Oh, wow.
But whatever it was, I think he really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. I love the title reveal.
Oh, that was pretty cool.
That was so cool.
And clever with what was going on the screen and everything. So, yeah, I'd definitely like to see it again.
Yeah. Yeah, as Tony went and saw it like Thursday. Bone Bat was Saturday. So he went between, he was watching it on Thursday and Bone Bat to see it again.
Oh.
And he's like, yeah, it got better because I was able to move past the insanity of just trying to follow what's going on and see a little bit more what they were doing. I guess he really thought it works even better, more viewing. So that's cool.
And Eric, I remember you and I went and saw the remake, and we walked out of there going, I mean, that was okay, but we weren't really blown away by it. This one, I think, is head and shoulders above the remake.
Yeah, it figured it out. It did what of course, and Sam, who knows how involved Sam and Bruce were. I mean, they're both producers on it, but they don't seem like control freaks. But whatever points they helped with, I think really made it work.
I heard an interview with Lee Cronin, and he said that he basically pitched them a couple of the scenes, and they really liked that, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, you're the guy."
Nice.
I hope he gets a chance to do he wants to do a prequel now to this, which is the priests in the 1920s who get that book. So I was like, I would watch that also.
That'd be really cool, man. The book is awesome looking in this one.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you noticed, his idea was that there's the book from the original movie that Bruce Campbell seems to always be dealing with.
Right.
But in Army of Darkness, there were 3 books on the pedestal, and he felt like the second book was the remake, and that this book is that 3rd book.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was one of the things he pitched to Sam that Sam really loved. So,
good thinking.
So kind of ties them all into the same universe.
No wonder he did so well. He really understood the source material.
A big fan, yeah.
Yeah, go see that one. I think. Do you really like the?
I'm nervous because like the trailer just made it look like a gore fest, and
Oh, it is.
I was like, I mean, I kind of need a good story to get me through that kind of stuff because otherwise,
It's
like, it just is bleh. Like, I was like, great, a cheese grater. That's gonna be
yeah,
fun for me
that
to
scene
sit
Yeah, it's
through.
uncomfortable.
that made me kind of
Do you
block
like?
my eyes.
Do you like the other film? I mean, because with the exception of Army of Darkness, there's
Yeah.
not a lot of story in the Evil Dead movies most of the
No,
time.
I'm trying to figure it out, and I don't know if I do like the Evil Dead
Uh-huh.
movies because I don't find them the funny ones funny. So I don't know. Maybe it's just lost on me. I'm not sure. I really struggle with it. I think I have to
Yeah, it's a
go
very
back through.
distinct thing, and if it doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for you.
The remake was fine. I also watched it and was like, oh, all
That
right,
one's
it's
brutal.
raining blood.
That one was just so downbeat, and I really liked the idea of the reason we're up in a remote cabin and we have no contact with the world is because this is an intervention.
Yeah.
We're getting this person off heroin and all that.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, that's clever.
Yeah.
But I never, beyond that, I didn't think that it was very scary. I never got the feeling that the evil might escape the cabin.
Right.
Mm.
But bringing it to a high rise, and the fact that it was not what I thought it was going to be, which was like a Poltergeist 3 high rise. You
Sure.
know, it's an old 70s LA high rise. It's like
Mm.
20 stories high, maybe,
Yeah.
and very cool looking. And the gimmick for keeping them in the building is very smart.
Yep.
So I just thought, boy, this is a really neat chapter in this, and I would love to see more stuff like this. The book can be placed anywhere now, right? We can
Yeah.
get an Evil Dead in space now, right?
Oh,
Which is
God.
all I ever want with
There you
every
go.
Evil
franchise.
Dead in space. Excellent.
Oh, God.
Okay, should we take a little break? And then when we come back, we're going to be talking Giallo films.
The quiet moments belong to J&B. The Scotch whiskey, so rare, it whispers.
We have returned. And Eric, this was your subgenre pick.
Yeah, and to get into, if you collect Severin discs, you probably have a massive backlog of Giallo films that you could pull from, and I do. So I thought, let's give this one a shot. Hi, Tony. I know you're liking this one.
I'm
This
putting
is-
10 minutes on the buzzer, Eric.
Thank you. I'm going to go with 1971's The Case of the Scorpion's Tail.
1920, The Golem, directed by Paul Wegner and Henrik Galeen. 1926, The Battleship Potemkin by Sergei Eisenstein. 1930, M by Fritz Lang. 1931, L'Âge d'Or by Luis Buñuel. 4 great pictures, 4 masterpieces on violence. Today, Sergio Martino reaffirms this classic violence with The Case of the Scorpion's Tail.
So this has no critics rating yet. It's got 3 ratings, all fresh, but not enough consensus to give it a rating. And 71 from crowd. So pretty good. No idea what budget is. No idea what box office is. I mean, come on, it's 1971. It's available on Arrow Blu-ray and occasionally shows up on Arrow. I've seen it on Arrow streaming service many times. This is by Sergio Martino, who has done many films. A Man Called Blade, 2019, After the Fall of New York, Hands of Steel, Beyond Kilimanjaro, Across the River of Blood, The Island of Fishermen. One of the great titles that I made fun of till I watched the movie and thought, oh my God, this is really freaking good. Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. And the truly subtle film Torso. Starring Eduardo Manzionos from Cabaret. Yes, that one. Go for Broke, Light the Fuse, Hantara is Coming. Django, the Honorable Killer. And let's see what else we've got. We've got Ernesto Gastaldi, who's got 124 writing. Oh, this is one of the writers. Sorry, 124 writing credits. Libido, Cheers to Cyanide, Hands of Steel, Once Upon a Time in America, My Name is Nobody, Torso, The Amazing Giallo, All the Colors of the Dark, The Forbidden Photo of a Lady Above Suspicion, and a third writer, Sario Scavanelli, who's done Love and Death in the Garden of Gods, Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key, A Man Called Blade, The Cynic, The Rat and the Fist, and $10,000 for a Massacre. You can tell what period these guys were writing on.
Yeah, no kidding. $10,000 is not enough to do a massacre. I'm just going to say that.
Starring George Hilton, The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, Massacre Time, Holy God, Here Comes the Pastor. They Called Him the Player with the Dead, and All the Colors of the Dark. Another performer, Anita Strindberg, who from Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key.
Wow.
The Salamander, and A Lizard in a Woman's Skin, which is one of those giallos I've always wanted to see but haven't yet. Alberto de Munzo from Horror Express, Nights Without Moons and Sun, Cairo, Curse of the Black Cat, A Lizard in a Woman's Skin, and The People Who Own the Dark. He's got like 124 acting credits, so it's all Italian people that have been in a whole bunch of the Italian movies during the 60s and 70s, Giallo and Italian Western period. The opening notes on this are amazing. It sounds like it's almost Goblin, but it's not. It's definitely Giallo music. The credits kind of run over a last walking through the streets with crazy red light. And like I said, the music really works. So they kind of set up the Giallo really nicely right from the start. Got to tell you, movie starts with an exploding plane. Pretty sure it was firecrackers and a $5 airplane from the airport.
I love it.
Excellent.
I was like, wow, that does not look good. But the plane was carrying our leading lady's husband, who'd mysteriously insured himself for $1 million.
Whoa.
So she heads on to the lawyer's office to find out what's going on. She looks like she's guilty, though. Is she? I don't know. A drug addict comes at her stopped in the street and wants to know what she's up to, but has found out somehow that she's getting a big inheritance, so he wants to blackmail her. Now there's a man with a scar and a letter following her. She gets to the blackmailer's house, finds a letter, but no, she finds him dead. And we're 12 minutes into the movie.
Oh my God.
Jeez. The sucker starts like a firecracker. There's a strange setup with a woman playing a piano, not particularly well, but okay. But I say that because she's on a stage of a giant looked like she's practicing to perform in a very large Paramount theater kind of place. She says, no, your husband loved me, told me he was going to divorce you, and I would get the inheritance. Like, okay, nice story. But this is followed by one of the best shots in the film where the scarred man shows up again and they go running through this gigantic spiral staircase.
Mm.
And it's one of those metal ones, so you can see through all the steps and you can see the middle, and it just looks amazing. And the first appearance of Black Gloves.
Oh.
Like, so you're fully into Giallo territory now. The widow takes this money in cash, and there's some weird mystery going on about something she has to get to Tokyo for the money. I don't think they ever address this because we've got a Psycho level plot twist here with the leading lady. So if you watch Psycho, you know what I mean. And it really changes the tone and tenor of the movie. And now, it's a 71 movie. We can't have a woman be the female lead, I guess, through the whole movie. Now it's the insurance adjuster who's investigating her is the lead guy. It's like, okay, fine. But it does follow shortly after which with the other key of a Giallo film, a bottle of J&B, which people drink from. It does make its appearance. 1 hour in, and the movie is like a totally different film than when it started. It's not a bad change, but it is a really extreme difference. But I will also let you know that if you're curious watching this film, you will definitely learn that pronto means hello. There are so many phones that's answered in this freaking film, and everybody answers it. Pronto, pronto, pronto. It's like, how about let's mix it up? Give me a how you doing or hey, what's up? Something. But overall, this is a pretty good Giallo. Sergio Martino, I think, is a incredibly underrated Italian director. Part of the problem, I think, is he worked in. He's got 68 directing credits, and he did tons of genres. He did all kinds of shit. There's comedies, there's giallos, there's horrors, there's romantic comedies. It's just a crazy cavalcade of films. He's like a studio director, but in that time period, and he just worked all the time. But his stuff occasionally looks amazing, and he is easily on par with some of maybe not Mario Bava's best, but definitely Mario Bava's middle of the road is better than a lot of his stuff, which he worked with Mario Bava on the film The Whip and the Body, where it said he actually did almost all of the directing because Bava was not so caring by then.
That's interesting. I really like that movie, Whip in the Body.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. So you might like his stuff. They can be kind of extreme, especially the Your Vice is when I don't like I have the key. That one's like, oh my god. Not quite, like I said, but not quite Argento, but he's definitely a realm of Roberto Lenzi or Fulci or many of the other filmmakers of the era. The music I mentioned earlier is by a guy named Bruno Nicola, who's composer of 124, common number for these guys, films and television, including Caligula,
Oh.
A Virgin Among the Living Dead, The Inconsolable Widow Thanks All Those Who Consoled Her,
Oh my God.
I love these titles.
My Horse, My Gun, Your Widow.
Oh.
They Call Him Cemetery, and of course, Your Voice is a Locked Room, and I have the key. Vice is a Locked Room. Movie was popular enough in Spain that they did a 70 millimeter blow up for its release.
Hmm.
So it's shown in large 70 millimeters. I'm vamping here a little bit talking about stuff because for a film, it's part of the Arrow release of Martino's films. There's almost nothing on them. There's like an interview with the lead actor, which I watched most of, but then realized he's just talking about himself, which is interesting, but not the movie. Not talking about stuff like. And the write-ups on it, they are relatively generic, and it's like, I guess this was just a relatively well put together film that didn't have a lot of drama on it and just got done, completed, and released. Like, honestly, most movies are.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's a good giallo. I like Martino's style. He's a little calmer. He's not quite as crazily stylistic as Argento can get, which is cool as hell. So, but I think he tells a pretty good story and he knows how to make a film. So, yeah, it was worth watching.
This is actually one you said it got blown up to 70, and I'm like, well, now I really am curious what the budget and box office for this film was,
Yeah.
because it must have been something they felt pretty confident about.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It did well.
Vanessa,
Oh
Apparently.
man.
Here
Oh,
It's been a
comes-
while.
here
It's-
comes 10
oof.
minutes.
I don't know if I can do this, guys. So I haven't seen a lot of Giallo. It's definitely like a little bit of a black box for me.
Sure.
And there's things that I want to check out, and there were some that I considered that are very modern takes on Giallo. But
Yeah.
I thought maybe I'd go the opposite direction and just do the first ever Giallo. So you've probably seen this, Eric. The Girl Who Knows Too Much from 1963. It's
No.
also called The Evil Eye.
The supernatural powers of the evil eye claim still another victim. Its malevolent enjoyment of tantalizing torture hangs threateningly over John Saxon, Letitia Roman, and Valentina Corteza.
Oh, she was always against me. She hated me.
Madness and the maddening aura that destroys reason fills their every breath with the smell of death.
Miss Dawson, have you ever seen a murder before?
No, I've never seen anything like that. Never.
Oh, stop playing games, will you, Landini? I don't know what you're trying to do, but I know that you're involved in this. Perhaps Nora has seen the killer. But how do we know that he hasn't seen her?
The evil eye, like relentless tides, reaches out for them. And they defiantly hold ecstasy and horror in their arms and touch lips with terror, while the evil eye watches their every kiss and invades their subconscious.
All right. Well, it is a Mario Bava joint. It had a budget of 190 million lira, box office of 80 million lira. I mean, but I don't know because it's the first one, and then he immediately did another. So I don't know about these numbers. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 71% from critics and a 68% from audience. Bava, who we're just talking about, has 39 credits to his name, including Bay of Blood, Black Sabbath, Blood and Black Lace, Black Sunday. But he, even more so, was a cinematographer. He has 79 credits for that, and including other films like Lisa and the Devil, he did the cinematography on pretty much everything that he directed. It is starring John Saxon. He's a
Whoa.
totally Italian dude. Did you guys know John Saxon's just an Italian dude? Because I did not know he's just an Italian dude, and he is. He's just like, hey, I'm the handsome Italian man. I was like, what the fuck is John Saxon? Okay.
What year was this again?
This is 1963.
Okay, so
He's
right
young.
in his prime.
He's a young stud. He's been in 197 things. We would have seen him in Black Christmas, Enter the Dragon, Nightmare on Elm Street, New Nightmare, of course, and also Tenebrae, which I did not know he was in, or Tenebrae. And also co-starring, well, mainly starring Letitia Roman. She has 26 credits to her name, some German films, some Italian films, and some TV walk-on roles. She's not good, but she is beautiful. So I can see why maybe in a certain time of her life, she got a lot of roles and maybe not that many after. The story follows Nora, an American, on a trip to Rome to visit a family friend, this old lady named Ethel. Now, Nora, an American, is not an American. Nora is an Italian lady. She speaks Italian. She acts like an Italian. She kisses people on the cheek. She says things when she answers the phone, like maybe pronto. maybe she ain't so American, but she occasionally calls her mom in New York, and she talks about how American she is and how much she wants to see the world. So cool. She loves detective novels and is engrossed in one on the plane ride over when a man sitting next to her kind of flirtatiously offers her a cigarette, and she says no, and then just changes her mind, takes it, and he gives her the whole pack. When she arrives at the airport, the man who's walking next to her is arrested by the police for importing marijuana cigarettes, which are his briefcase is chock full of. They do say marijuana cigarettes several times in this movie, and it is incredible. She's embarrassed and leaves very quickly, knowing that she has a pack in her purse. Ooh. She arrives and finds out that Mrs. Ethel is actually very sick, and a handsome doctor, John Saxton, is really worried about her. He says, tell her she's fine, but I'm actually very worried. Here's my number. Give me a call if anything goes wrong. He also is very smitten with her. That night, Ethel just dies. Nora tries to call for help, but the phone does not work. So she runs out onto the Spanish steps and is mugged. She then wakes up hours later and sees a woman fall down across the stairs with a knife in her back. A man with a goatee takes the knife out and drags the woman away. Nora passes out again, wakes up to a man putting alcohol in her mouth, passes out again, wakes up with a police officer finding her, saying she's a drunk. She goes to a doctor. I thought she was going to end up in like an insane asylum the way they're talking about her. They're like, she's hysterical. She has no sense of time. And they have like all the students surrounding her. And I'm like, what is happening? And eventually, of course, the doctor who liked her shows up and helps her get out of there. She then goes and tells the nuns at the hospital, the doctor, other doctors, police, and her mother on the phone about the lady she saw who was killed. And of course, nobody believes her. They all think she was delusional or hallucinating. She becomes obsessed with finding out what happened to this woman and following every lead that she can. Meanwhile, of course, John Saxton is becoming more and more in love with her. The tale leads us through a weird, sometimes almost hallucinogenic moments of it gets a little beat by beat for murder mystery, but with some sexy Italianness and landscapes thrown in. Eventually, the truth, of course, comes out. It's very complex. And Nora does fall in love with the awkward, open mouth, fish kissing Italian John Saxton. It is one of the grossest kisses I have ever seen on screen. It's nasty. Will she realize that Ethel isn't rising from the dead, but is actually being moved by a cat climbing on the other side of the bed? Probably not. Will she ever look at any of the sights she's seeing in Rome and not act like she's incredibly bored out of her mind? Probably because she lives there. Probably not. Or will it all turn out to possibly be a dream from smoking marijuana cigarettes by accident that the man on the plane gave her? Who knows? Oh man. It isn't described. They don't answer that, but they do set it up, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? A couple of thoughts on this movie. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. She is irritating as fuck. She spends half the film jumping at literally nothing. She's a very nervous girl. She looks nervous. She's always walking very slowly, kind of checking around in every scene she's in. It gets very tiresome. The shots of Italy are gorgeous. This is a black and white film. In fact, this is the last black and white movie by Mario Bava. It feels almost Fellini in style. They show off every major attraction: the Spanish Steps, the Colosseum, the big fountain. Like I said, it's really weird that an American is an Italian. This feels like a real flip on the typical Giallo. There is a like weird voiceover that keeps interrupting what's happening, where there's a guy describing as if like it's a mystery novel what's going on. Nora really thought about the complexities of the case. You're like, what is okay? But it does have lots of shadows, fashion, visions. It's not yet at the point where we have the bold colors, the crazy sex, the gloves, or the more the insanity that you get. But it does feel a little bit more like a typical murder mystery, very Hitchcockian ripoff, but with Italian beats along the way. Little bit of trivia. Mario Bava was a big fan of Hitchcock. Weird.
Yeah.
And has Hitchcockian touches about the film, including a cameo by the director. And the scene where Roman, the main actress, is in her bedroom at Ethel's home, the portrait on the wall with the eyes that keep following her is that of Mario Bava. I think I missed that. It's regarded as the seminal work in what became the Giallo genre, released in America and Britain as Evil Eye. There was some drama between Saxton and Bava on the set. Saxton states that he had initially gotten along with Bava during production. Later, when Saxton was practicing judo on the beach, it really upset Bava, who felt like he was showing off. So that
Probably was.
It probably was. I was like, all right. In a contemporary review with the Monthly Film Bulletin, Bava described the film as a tolerably. Oh, sorry. Did he describe this? Sorry.
A tolerably okay
Somebody
film.
said a tolerably silly but quite enjoyable thriller. Viewer noted the plot, stating that Bava, always a better cameraman than director, hasn't Ricardo Ferrata's ability to make a merit of cliches and often seems rather unhappy with his complicated plot, which is packed to the brim with red herrings, lurking shadows, and sinister happenings, known as thrillerdom. Director Mario Bava did not look back positively on the film, claiming that he thought the film was too preposterous. Perhaps it could have been done with James Stewart and Kim Novak, whereas I had, I can't remember their names. And this film made way for Bava to go into full swing Giallo with his next film, Blood and Black Lace.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I don't really like murder mysteries.
Yeah.
And I don't like noir. And I kind of like Giallo because it's insane. So it didn't have that.
Yeah,
So it was very boring.
What was why people consider it the first one? Because I'd heard it mentioned as an inspiration that led to what became Giallo.
I was curious too,
Giallo
but I
film.
read like in 3 different places it's considered to be the first one. And maybe it's just because it's Bava.
Could be, yeah.
And he's starting to, it does start with that premise that she's obsessed with murder mystery novels. And you start to see that initial thing where, women in Italy love the murder mystery novel and it's at its height. And I wonder if that inclusion and that sort of her obsession with that is part of laying the groundwork for what it becomes. But no Black Gloves.
Okay. Well, all right. Putting 10 minutes on the board. Eric, you know that I don't particularly like Giallo.
Yes.
And this film did not change my opinion.
Uh-oh. Oh, dear.
I chose from 1971, The Cat o' Nine Tails.
Lori, I want you to take a look and tell me who you see in that car we just passed.
There's a man with brown hair. There's somebody else too, but I can't see his face. He's dead. The man you told me to look at the other night. Scientist crushed by train.
I'd like to talk to you about the death of Dr. Calabrese.
Our photographer even managed to get a shot of the action.
It's as if somebody had pushed the poor bastard out of the train.
My friend, the photographer, he's dead.
Not a Tootsie. The boss dog.
I don't like your manner.
I'm not crazy about yours either.
Let's make peace. Take me out of here.
Whoever it is getting desperate. When somebody has committed 4 murders, he won't hesitate to commit the 5th.
Did you drink any?
Budget of about $1 million, but I could find no box office. Rotten Tomatoes critics have it at 81%, and the audience has it at 54%. And the director is Dario Argento.
Yep.
Written by Dario with story credits to Luigi Cozzi, Dardano Saccati, And these guys are Italian directors and writers responsible for Paganini Horror and 1990 Bronx Warriors.
Hey, there you go. Bring it on.
Part of the reason I chose this is because it is starring James Franciscus. 77 credits, including The Valley of Gwangi, Good Guys Wear Black, but is perhaps best known as Brent in Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Mm-hmm.
It is also starring Carl Malden, 72 credits, very
Oh,
recognizable
right.
character actor. He was in The Gunfighter, Baby Doll, Meteor, 120 episodes as Detective Lieutenant Mike Stone on the streets of San Francisco. And it also stars Catherine Spock, who has 87 credits. She was in Honey, Murder is a Murder, and The Boxer. She is beautiful in the way only Italian women in the 1970s can be.
Indeed.
Just stunning. Okay, I know you've seen this, Eric.
Oh, yeah. A while ago. It started as a weird quest of mine when I was still renting regularly from
Right.
Scarecrow. It's like, well, let's see a bunch of Argento films. I think it's like his first or...
It's very early on.
Yeah.
And in fact, they don't say that this really is a Giallo, but it is in the Giallo section of my Arrow,
Yeah.
my Arrow streaming, and so I'm counting it as that.
Oh, yeah.
At first, I tried to watch Strip Nude for Your Killer, and I got about halfway through it, and then when I went to go back to finish it, Arrow streaming wouldn't let me. It would just always kick me out.
Oh,
and I was
weird.
like, God damn it, I guess I'm watching a different movie now. So here I am, Cat o' Nine Tails. We start with a middle-aged blind man, Franco, walking down a street at night with his 10-year-old niece, Lori, when they pass by a man in a car. Franco overhears him say the word blackmail, so he bends over, pretending to tie his shoes, and asks Lori to describe the man in the car. Lori does, but says that she cannot see the other man that's in the car very clearly. I love that this guy feels like something is dangerous and immediately draws his 10-year-old niece into that danger with him.
Yep.
They walk back to their apartment, and while Lori is asleep, Franco works on a puzzle, and he hears a noise. Outside, the man who was unseen in the parked car, he gets out and breaks into a large medical complex that stands right next to the apartment building where Franco lives. The next day, the police arrive at the Institute, and we meet Carlo Giordano, who's a hotshot reporter. That's James Franciscus. He bumps into Franco and helps him up, and there's an immediate connection between these two guys, evident even through the fucking horrible dubbing that is going on in this movie. I was just getting more and more furious with, because I could see them speaking in English, and then they were dubbed into Italian very, very badly.
Oh, jeez.
Just infuriating. Later, we see that the man that Lori could see in the car that night has been killed under mysterious circumstances at the train station. And now we're off and running, because it turns out Franco and his daughter go to Carlo and start sharing what they saw and heard, because Franco, before he went blind, was a journalist also.
Oh.
Of some renown. And now together, he and Carlo and spunky little Lori are going to solve this crime. People start dying immediately. The photographer who caught on film that it looks like the doctor was pushed in front of a train, Franco and Carlo make an appointment to discuss with him what he saw, but when they get there, he's been killed. Murdered by a man with black gloves and piano wire.
Huh.
This would have been a really cool scene if his blood wasn't pink. Bright pink blood, making me go, I wonder what planet he came from. This is getting very interesting. So Carlo goes off on his own to speak with the head of the Institute. I think I wrote down what the name of this institute was. It is the Terzi Institute.
Sure.
And he goes on to speak to the head of the institute, which gets him nowhere. But then he runs into Anna, the daughter of the head of the institute. And he and Anna get along like a house on fire, because he's James Franciscus and she is a gorgeous Italian woman. He is really handsome. It's like, this is maybe the same year or maybe the year after Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I'm like, man, this guy is something else. I totally believe he's Italian. So they get together for dinner, and Anna tells him that the Institute researches chromosome alteration, specifically the XYY chromosome, the extra Y of which indicates a criminal tendency in the subject.
Oh my God.
From here, more people involved with the Institute's research end up murdered, and it starts to become clear that they are being specifically targeted. But by who? By who, Vanessa?
The first one. The little girl. The little girl.
Yes, it is the little girl. There's some fun stuff in this with the killer injecting poison into some delivered milk cartons that keep almost being opened and drank, but it is interrupted by the beautiful Anna and the ridiculously handsome Carlo having sex.
Oh, all right.
The weird thing is, right after their very passionate lovemaking, they're about to drink milk.
Oh, right.
And I mean, I guess it does a body good. It is the postcoital drink that I offer everyone after having sex with them. Would you like some milk?
Whole or
Refreshing.
2%?
Ooh, it's hot today. Would you like a glass of milk?
I'm just like, this scene happens, and I'm like, I'm going to throw up. The idea of all the fluids that were exchanged is fine with me, but then having milk afterwards is nauseating.
You know, it's Europe. What can
That's
you
right.
say?
Well, I must have recently watched this. Aren't they served in like some weird carton
Yes,
too?
they're almost like bags of milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very strange.
And in Italy, they're like, it's weird. They're not in the refrigerator aisle.
That was the other thing that
Yeah.
bothered me.
Yeah.
He gets these bags of milk and he puts them on his counter.
Yeah, no, they don't refrigerate from the way they process or store them or something. They're just in the aisle.
Horrifying. But it sets up at where he pours her some, and then he's talking to somebody, and then he sees that there's milk spilled all over from the little injection hole, and so he knocks it out of her hand just as she's about to drink it. It's a pretty good scene. There are some nice red herrings in the mix, so you start thinking the killer could be anyone. But not really. You meet one person that they start talking to, and you're like, that guy is definitely doing it. Little Lori gets kidnapped while Franco and Carlo are breaking into a tomb, and that's a pretty fun sequence because Carlo is inside, and the tomb suddenly gets shut on him. Carlo is James Franciscus, and then when he gets the tomb open, Franco is standing there. He has a cane. He's a blind man, right? The cane also has a sword in it.
Of course.
And the sword is bloody. So we're like, what happened? And he's like, my daughter was kidnapped. And so now you're like, wait a second, you in on this? I won't tell you because even though it's obvious, this is actually a pretty decent movie. And if you got any interest in this kind of stuff, this is definitely one worth watching. I liked it. The dubbing was making it really fucking hard to watch. Obviously, Carl Malden and James Franciscus are delivering their lines in English.
Right.
And they're horribly dubbed into Italian. And, it goes both ways. I'd much rather watch an Italian film with subtitles. But if we're going to do this, let them speak English and subtitle it or something. I don't know why, it's like John Saxon. How good was his Italian?
Oh, it's very good.
Yeah.
His parents are Italian though.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
I tried to look it up because I was like,
speaking in Italian?
yeah, he starred in a number of Italian films.
Oh, it's a good idea to start there.
But yeah, sorry.
I'm not even sure this works as a Giallo because it doesn't really have many of the tropes at all. But like I said, Arrow had it under their Giallo banner, and that was good enough for me in a very short time.
It can be shoehorned in to Giallo, but I think Deep Red is largely considered his
first
big
Giallo
one. This is part of the Animal trilogy.
Okay. So I've got some taglines. Remember the name of this movie? Cat o' Nine Tails.
That's right. Oh, yes.
It's 9 times more suspenseful.
Oh, God.
How about this? From the master of terror who gave you The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, the picture that out-psyched Psycho. As the body count increases, will no one escape the sting of the cat o' nine tails? Which is a bullshit because that's not what this title refers to at all.
And that's not what cats do. They don't have a tail that stings you. Sorry, spoilers.
And then finally, caught between the truth and a murderous hand. I have just a couple of bits of trivia here. Least favorite of Dario Argento among his pictures?
Yeah.
During the nighttime burglary at the Terzi Institute, a doctor can be clearly heard whistling Ennio Morricone's tune from The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. And then the title does not refer to a feline or a kind of whip, but the number of leads to follow in the attempt to solve the murders. One last thing I want to say about this. They talk about the XYY chromosome being this thing that's a indicator of violent tendencies. In the 70s, there was this push of that. They called it the super male chromosome.
Yeah.
And it acted on the brain's limbic system, which regulates primitive drives, including impulses toward violence, and somehow helps trigger violent criminal acts. This has roundly been refuted today. So it was kind of interesting to see it pop up because I remember seeing books about that kind of stuff in the house when I was growing up, but it's one of those bullshit things. Yeah, please, no more Giallo films. This is not for me.
I don't know. I have a bunch of Giallo films I want to see that aren't actually Giallo.
Do that on your own time.
Are those like the modern ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knife Plus Heart and The Editor are the two that I'm. Yeah. But they're not real. I didn't think they really counted for this. So.
Well, and that when I talked about the Last Matinee, that would have been a perfect Giallo film to do. I wish I had done that because I really enjoyed that film.
Oh.
Okay,
was that The Corpse's Tan or something like that? Or While the Corpse's Tan?
I've heard of it, but I've not seen it.
That is a, modern Giallo by some crazy filmmakers. It's interesting.
Corpse Plus Tan.
While the Corpse's Tan, I think it's called, or Dead Corpse's Tan. I don't remember exact title. It's a weird one.
Well,
it's a Giallo-inspired thing.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, I'm glad I got another one knocked off my list, so I feel like I understand film and can talk about it slightly more intelligently.
We'll do a transcendental film thing sometime.
Oh my God, please don't.
Our podcast will last 4 days.
No, well, thank you.
Great. Kelly couldn't make
4
it.
minutes.
He's still, you got 2 more weeks on his film left.
Did anybody finish their films this week? Nope.
Okay, who's got the choice for the next?
I believe that would be me.
I believe it would be you.
Yeah, so something we don't talk about nearly enough on our podcast. Nuclear disasters.
Oh.
Good times.
I would like to have us pick films from the nuclear family. Ideally either, during or dealing with after some kind of nuclear event.
I like this idea very much.
Yeah.
A lot of possibilities there.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
I can't just keep doing end of the world films because you guys probably won't let me, so I'm getting
put
inventive.
a new word on
spin.
the end of the word.
What do they all have in common?
I want to thank everybody for liking and sharing posts, for participating in the value for value model, all of that stuff. Really, really appreciate all of that. I also want to mention that shortly I will have a website popping up that is written by klyoung.com, and it has stuff that I've been working on, and there's going to be a couple of chapbooks available there, all that stuff. I will say that we're running into just a few things that are getting that set up, but I'm putting it out here to the people who want that are listeners or interested in anything I've written or anything like that. Probably before the new chapbook Infernal Combustion goes on sale, you'll be able to just reach out to me via the Strange Eons thing or through my own personal stuff on Facebook or whatever. And if you want, I have like a very, very limited number of the original music Ballad of Eric Zahn chapbook, which was limited to 99 copies. I have like less than 19 copies, and I will throw that and the new Infernal Combustion and a couple of stickers into an envelope and send that to you for like $20 flat if you are interested in that. Full disclosure, there is a mass market paperback version of Ballad of Eric Zahn on Amazon right now, but this is the original one. It comes in a 45 slipcase and all that.
Very cool.
It's
and by the way,
cool.
I will save your butt just a little bit. If you want this shipped out of the U.S., it won't be a flat $20. Let's just save yourself that.
In fact, United States mail only. Sorry, guys. I don't feel comfortable selling you something that I would sell for $6 and then charge you $15 in shipping. Nothing I do is worth that, so you can't have it.
Unless you really want it and
you
ask
cannot have it.
nicely.
I will not.
Contact me. I'll help hook you up.
Okay, so I think that is the end of the show. We are going to be back in 7 short days, and we're talking nuclear disaster. transportation, and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio, produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, if you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
Nora does fall in love with the awkward, open-mouth, fish-kissing Italian John Saxton.